Hi GameCats, this is Orsik. I'm calling you from the future where I'm playing on the PS6 and I can tell you the graphics are amazing. Here I'm playing Perfect, the third episode, and it's multiplayer and I am with Belramio. What do you think, Belramio?
It's really perfect, like the name says. Every wave has a different sound, different touch and different feel to it.
Thanks. And now it's time for Viewer Takeover.
This is Viewer Takeover, where we film every Monday night and we bring it to YouTube every Tuesday morning, afternoon, midnight. We don't care, man. It's just whenever I have time. There's a lot of reviews on the docket, and I'm just going to edit this when I have time. Hopefully that means it's on time. As always, my name is Brian Paul from this channel right here, Without Parole, and to my far, far left is AJ from not only this channel, but also PSVR Underground, the Golem Master, as we now refer to him.
Apparently so, yes.
Dude, tell me about getting the Golem Platinum last night.
It was absolute torture. It was hell. They put you, there's 200 collectibles and you have to wander around the city doing the hardest thing. The hardest thing in the game is to walk. And so you have to, if you miss any single piece of treasure or echo that's in there, you have to wander around the entire city looking at every brick, at every rock, and making sure there's not a piece of jewelry on it or something like that. And yeah, so the last two took me about 3 hours each just to find one artifact of one golem artifact and then one gem. 3 hours just to find one, and everything was dead. I killed everything in the game. Like the whole city was empty. I was just wandering around, just looking for it.
I feel like when you beat the game, they should reward you with a metal detector, right? And then it's just like one of those dudes on the beach with
wave it around. Yeah,
I will say. They do reward you with an extra cutscene.
Ooh.
That's all I will say.
Wow.
All right.
It's not like super special, but there is a little extra cutscene, which is cool.
And then this guy right here in the middle. This is Dave from Dave Station VR, half of the star of yesterday's Why We Love episode, No Man's Sky. Congratulations, you two, making your, I was going to say your inaugural performance on that show, but not the case at all.
Yeah.
But only the second time in all of history that I haven't been on that show.
Nice. We like to make history around here.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I was very hungover because I was hanging out with Dave Station the night before.
Hey. I didn't force you to take any drinks that you didn't want to take.
No, but there were fans of Without Parole in Worcester, and they did. And I wasn't going to say no because it came in a nice porcelain-shaped hand-painted.
Porcelain shaped. It was porcelain.
It was porcelain shaped.
Shout out to the awesome niche employees over at Mezcal.
Yeah, very cool. And I think this is a good segue. You guys were just talking about metal detectors on the beach. Let's talk about that Viewer Takeover intro.
Oh my god,
that was amazing.
That was a pretty good one.
And how I cannot believe they got their hands on a PS6. I'm so jealous, you guys. I really, impressive. Belramio, the invitation to come over and come see the Georgia Aquarium still is on the table, as long as you bring that PS6 with you. The graphics, guys, did you see those graphics?
The waves, man.
Yeah, the water physics are incredible.
They still haven't gotten rid of the fisheye, though. They're still, when you record off the PS6, I guess it still has the fisheye lens.
Yeah, you know.
Man, you're going to find people that complain about everything, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was a fantastic Viewer Takeover introduction. That was actually part 2. Obviously, last week, Orseek, the Game Cat, and Belramio did their European Game Cat meetup. The two of them met up, had some awesome foods, awesome drinks, and they hung out for like 3 days. And last week, they made the Luigi Beat Saber Luigi's Mansion mashup. The stop motion animation. And then this week, we got the perfect for PS6 VR. And man, that was an awesome Viewer
That's right. I'm sure Jay Dow.
Yeah.
Oh, and I loved it too. Perfect. You guys know if you've
people,
watched my channel, it's like one of my favorite.
It's your most viewed video of all time.
No, actually, Drunken Bar Fight is.
That's insane.
By about 3 times as much as Perfect.
Wow.
Which is
It's
bonkers.
okay when VR first happened. Brian, we got some more people we want to thank, though, don't we?
We do, but
Oh,
of course
yeah.
we will also want to say that if you want to introduce next week's viewer takeover, make sure you send your short, sweet, seductive, perfect viewer takeover introduction. And remember, you don't have to do anything crazy. Just turn the camera on yourself and say, "Hi, my name's Brian Paul. I'm a game cat. And welcome to viewer takeover." You like that? You like the imitation selfie I just did? Like, look at that. You got to get the Facebook post.
Yeah.
Withoutparole@gmail.com. Send it our way, and maybe you can introduce next week's show. And the likelihood is high because that was the last one in the queue for sure. Yes, but we do want to thank another group of game cats, don't we, AJ?
We do. The ones that go to Without Parole, patreon.com/withoutparole.
Glad you got this shit together. These people down here.
Games.
These are the people who went to patreon.com/withoutparole games.
Games.
That's seductive. Seductive.
Yes. Nice day.
And don't forget, you are the ones keeping this channel running. Not only do we give you almost weekly, I was a little late this week, an episode of The Litter Box where it's basically usually just me and Jeremy hanging out, shooting the shit. This week, I embarrassingly didn't
That
know.
was the most ridiculous Litterbox episode I've ever seen in my life, but it was really
Narwhals are
funny too.
definitely real. I
Neither-
don't know why
neither
there was
one-
any.
Neither one of us were totally certain if narwhals were real.
The mythical creature, the narwhal.
I mean, he had me convinced. Unicorns have a horn. Whales have a horn. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I mean, rhinos have a horn. They exist. I don't know.
But these are the conversations you'll miss out on if you don't give us $1 or more every single month. It's not PSVR related for the most part. It's just Jeremy and I hanging out, having a regular conversation. We figure, hey, we might as well film it and share it with you guys. Jeremy is fucking hilarious. Let's be honest about that. Just $1 or more every month on Without Parole. Patreon.com/withoutparole games.
But that's not the only people we want to thank now, is it, Brian?
No. We also want to thank the people who followed Beauty in the Decay's lead. I'm taking over this one.
Ah, you son of a bitch.
There you go.
And they changed their name on YouTube. They changed their name on Google to be one of the I was gonna say one of the furries. That's not right. One of the
Wrong
game cats. And of course, you guys know that game cats are the loyal following of Without Parole. So head on over to YouTube, head on over to Google, change your name, and then so that in the comments your name reflects your Without Parole game cat status. AJ, who changed your name to game cat this week?
We have got a whopping 4 new
Oh,
game
wow.
cats that are representing, and they are very, very special ones this week.
Star-studded
First of
cast.
all, we've got, yes, it is. And first of all, we've got Brian's favorite name change, possibly of all time, definitely of recent memory, and that's going to be iCarly the Game Cat.
I
Now, Brian, just
you'll see somehow the world will change for me and be
I was
so
waiting for that.
wonderful.
I was so waiting for you to start singing that.
It's my
never
favorite
watched
song
that
of all
show.
time.
I
Do you guys know who it is?
know what.
No, I don't know.
No.
it
Do
is.
you know who is behind the
Changed their name.
iCarly the Game Cat mask?
No.
That's our good friend.
Wait, no. Shouldn't you leave that like? Don't you want to reveal?
It's like
their...
a Batman situation.
Yeah. You don't
wanna-
want to reveal.
Well,
What
so
if you compromise their?
he entered the Contagion giveaway, and then I saw his PSN name. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was you. You're so loyal. Okay, well, I won't ruin the mystery for anyone. Who else changed your name to Game Cat this week, AJ?
We've got our latest Russian game cat. That's going to be Phil Star, the game cat.
Very active over on the Discord.
Yeah,
Phil
Phil Star
Star?
has been around for a while, and I don't know if it just took him a while to figure out how to change it. But I remember him saying, like, I really want to change it and stuff. And
It's not the easiest thing to do.
It's not. But he's been around for a minute, so welcome, sir, to the Mother Cat.
The mother cat.
Yes.
It's like Michelle, but like older.
Yes, and a giant ship that
People can
Holds
live
cats.
inside of it. Yeah,
cats can live in.
Somebody
yes.
lived
It's like
inside of
cat
Michelle
that
for
lives-
like 9 months.
that's true. That's
True.
It's like a
but
whole
not
gestation
many
period.
people. Not that I'm aware of.
I mean,
Anyways.
at least one. That's all I got. Okay, and who's next? Ooh, this is a
Oh,
weird one.
now we've got my biggest fan on YouTube, and that's going to be Polish Paul, the game cat. because
Welcome, Polish Paul. We like you
always-
now.
It's always better when there's Meow.
Except for that's not actually Polish
that-
Paul,
is
but
that-
we can
Yes.
continue.
It's not actually Polish Paul.
It's an identity theft situation.
It is, but
Spread
it
the
belongs
love.
to us
Spread the
now.
love, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God.
The freshest cat in the village.
Yeah, so
we
I
shall
mean,
call.
this is evidence where like you don't have to take these things like really seriously, right? You can change your name every few months or something, and you can be goofy with it.
And then finally, we've got Korix, the game cat, who is also known as Supertramp Yuki, who's also known as H2O PSVR, who's also known as Maverick, who's also known as...
Oh crap, that's Maverick. I'm so bad at this.
He's all these guys.
I didn't.
He is
wow.
all of these guys because he's my
That's
good buddy.
confusing.
So I
That's
know
so
him pretty
confusing.
well. And the reason he did this, he is a huge Korix fan. He's always asked me, like, AJ, when the hell are you going to get Korix? I'm sorry, dude. I will at some point.
Wait, you
one
don't
of
have Korix? It was like
No.
$1.
Yeah, right.
I know.
And it's so good.
Buy Korix right now.
I know.
Go
Well,
buy Korix.
he asked me, and I told him that, I'm not going to spend $20 on it because I missed my chance. And
Is it really 20 full price? I
but
didn't
no,
realize
I'm looking
that.
forward to playing Final Assault with you, good sir. But I played Star Trek Bridge Crew with this dude. He had me dying the whole time. Just super funny guy.
I feel
Great
like
guy.
I feel like finding out that Korix is actually Maverick because I see Maverick all the time on the Discord. This is like when I found out that Jyox was doing Gladstone.
Yeah.
Like that took me months. It was just like really embarrassing. Thank you very much, everyone who changed your name to GameCat. We love and love you, and we also love
We
you.
love and love you.
But we also love you, Dave. There's also that.
Okay.
There's so
So,
much
Ryan,
love that it
I'm
has
a
to be
little
separated with
confused.
commas.
I'm a
I
little
think I'm following.
confused.
I'm pretty sure I'm following.
Okay.
What is the point of this show?
That,
Yeah, are we
every
gonna
week I
answer-
struggle to
Yeah.
to define that. The point of the show is is for us to answer your comments, your questions, but we need to find your comments and questions. And so the way to do that is to make sure you leave your comments and questions in love, commas, and articles. Is to leave them in the comments below underneath any one of our videos with the hashtag viewer takeover, all one word, or join our Discord server because we talk about it incessantly. The link is in the description, and then leave your comment /question/love in the hashtag viewer takeover channel. That's what we do, and that's what we do, and then we all do it together because it's very incestuous.
Yeah.
All right, so that being said, the first comment comes from Hudson over on, left this comment on PSVR Gamescast Live. He writes, hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. He says, with all the talk about Golem making people feel motion sick, this is going to be a fun conversation.
All of your guys talk.
So I'm so glad that
Actually, no, several other people too. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's just pretend Highwire isn't watching because they're probably not. What are your top 3 other VR games that made you feel queasy? It's weird calling those your top 3. It's like, here's your top 3 that made you barf. Mine would be Riggs on PSVR.
Nice, that's a good one.
Farpoint using the aim controller. He writes, believe it or not, I believe it, but I'm shocked and appalled. And Dreadhalls on the Gear VR, one of the first VR games I ever played a year before the PSVR release. This is a good question. Do you guys have any immediate thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think everybody's first one was probably Scavenger's Odyssey on the
Nope.
PSVR Worlds. That did a little number on me.
My
I mean,
second.
it's not crazy bad, but if it's one of your first experiences, it's a little much.
I mean, you're jumping on walls and like it gives you that full freedom of locomotion. And it's so funny because like things like the London Heist on VR Worlds, like did everything possible to make sure you weren't going to get motion sick. And then they gave us Scavenger's Odyssey and basically did everything possible.
Well, the funny
make you
thing
sick.
is, like, you see that and like from Playroom VR Robot Rescue, people were like, hey, we want full games of this stuff.
Right.
Nobody's asking for a full Scavenger's Odyssey.
I was
have
asking.
never heard
I would
anybody
love
say
that.
that.
I would
want
totally
a full
take it.
Scavenger's Odyssey. So that's one for me. Golem, I guess he said other VR games, so I guess I won't say Golem.
The one game that, and I don't get really bad motion sickness, but I do get queasy, like he says. The one game to ever do this was, oddly enough, Apex Construct.
Apex Construct.
I was
That's not
not
what I
gonna
had
guess
written
that.
down on my. psychic
Nobody
paper here.
ever says that, and that's why I believe that it's all in your head, that it's always something different that affects somebody else, and that's why you can build your VR legs up and get out of it. And I don't know what it was. I think maybe just the world was very realistic at the time, and I just had a hard time kind of feeling balanced and feeling like I was in control, and that caused me to get a little bit sick. only time I've ever had to take a break and stop playing. And before it got patched, it was really janky too. And the jankiness and the frustration kind of built up with that, and that made it much worse. So luckily they patched it in by now. But yeah, it was Apex Construct is the only game to ever do that to me.
It's funny. I don't remember the jankiness and the frustration.
It's very odd.
It'd be like holding something and you'd have like something in your hand and it would hit the table and there'd be like collision, but like collision at first was not always the greatest. So it would like shoot out, like you would let go and like you'd be next to the table and then the item would like shoot off into the distance or clip behind the table, stuff like that. Like objects clipping behind walls and stuff. Super frustrating. Doesn't happen anymore.
I feel like that wouldn't make me sick though, but different strokes.
The frustration of it definitely added all together. Brian.
Yeah, I would say the big one for me was obviously I got a little concerned recently because Golem did make me sick, and then the 3D rudder had made me sick before that, and I was like, am I losing my VR legs? I got legitimately scared. That I was like, maybe I'm not preparing myself to play video games properly. Maybe I'm taking this stuff for granted. Maybe I'm drinking too much coffee and on an empty stomach, and then I dive
finally
into
got that job at IGN.
Maybe right? And the mandate was like, listen, you can work here, but you can't enjoy video games anymore.
Right.
So, so I got nervous, and as it turns out, no, it just happened to be two examples, sort of close in proximity, and I'm totally fine with every other VR game ever made. But the first one that ever did get me, and it didn't really stop me from playing because I liked the game too much to stop. It was Here They Lie. I bought that on launch day. I played that on the launch day. That was one of those games that convinced me how much I loved VR on launch day. And it did not matter to me that my stomach was like twisted up like a knot, because I was like, this is the coolest, craziest, creepiest, messed up world. Somebody took this out of my brain and put it into a game. I want to live here because I'm that demented. I don't care if it's going to make me sick. And
amazing game.
It's so amazing. And man, the fact that Tangentleman Game Studio sort of, I don't know if they've disbanded or
folded,
or exactly what's happened, but certainly not that they don't have the same team members anymore. It's so sad that we're not going to see a follow up to that game. Really
well, we've also got that list. We've got the top 5 games to test your VR legs. That was kind of comprised of a bunch of feedback and stuff because, like I said, I don't actually get motion sickness, so I had to have a lot of help and a lot of research and a lot of feedback that was used to make that. But Here They Lie. I definitely felt like a quick wave, but then it was gone shortly after. So, but I remember hearing so many people not being able to get past the first 20 minutes of that, which is why it made that list.
Oh yeah, it's notorious for causing motion sickness. I think Here They Lie is one of the ones definitely should be on a top 3. It's a great game, but it will make you sick if you're not ready for it.
Part of me is a little sad that they patched it because obviously it looks great on the Pro. And they've definitely done a little bit of work behind the scenes to make that game run better. But I'm sad that they patched it because I don't know if my VR legs improved since then or the patch that they implemented it helped in the motion sickness side of things. And that's what I'm always curious about. Are we? It's so funny to see how different people react to the same exact things different ways. It's like our brain chemistries are wildly different to the point where Hudson is playing Farpoint with the aim controller. Right, in my book, one of the most natural ways to play any game,
right.
as much as you get that fluid, full locomotion in that game. At no point did I ever even feel a tinge of sickness at all, and to find out that that's making somebody sick is like, oh man, you just want to hug them or something.
I didn't with Golem. I didn't feel sick with Golem. No, not Farpoint. Not even Detached. None of these made me feel sick at all.
No,
I think, like I said. I think it's just something you got to build up to if you're not ready for it. I mean, look, to be honest with you, I used to play Earthworm Jim when I was a kid, and my mom would look at the TV and she'd be like, "Oh, I'm getting sick." So
the rubber banding effect on that was so bad.
Yeah. So everybody gets motion sickness to some degree or another. It's not just a VR related thing. Like I said, she used to watch that and feel sick. So
the sirens, of course, are on my end. If you ever have a question. They're always my sirens. Yep. All right.
But yeah, so next up we've got Corix, the game cat, who writes in the Discord, and he says #viewer takeover. He says, I was making chicken quesadillas and thought about VR locomotion, and it came to mind. Wait, I was making chicken quesadillas. Can I restart that? Okay.
Sure.
And next up, we've got Corix.
Oh, we're leaving this all in. You're not getting a cut there.
Oh no, that sounds like work.
This is all staying in.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. He says I was making chicken quesadillas and thoughts about VR locomotion came to me. Now I have a question for you, Corix. What kind of chicken quesadilla were you making? What were the toppings in this that made you think of VR locomotion?
Well, he was plucking with feathers.
This is how his brains work. It's how his brain works. He's always thinking about VR locomotion.
I have a lot of questions about this quesadilla, and where can I get one?
He was plucking the feathers. He chopped the head off. The chicken was running around with his head cut off.
Is this a Santeria quesadilla?
And just homemade. It's homemade. That's all it is. And he goes and then with the chicken running around this kitchen floor with the head cut off, spouting blood, he goes, "This is making me think of motion sickness."
Locomotion, different thing. But he says, what are your best and worst examples of locomotion in PSVR games? It would be nice if future developers had a better connection with us, #GameCats, so they'd know what works and what doesn't. I totally agree. I really wish devs would be in touch with the community. Unfortunately, as we see recently, most of them just like to wait for the reviews to come out. And then when everybody's bashing the controls and then wait for us to say, I told you so. We, as a community, really care about this. And we've played hundreds of PSVR games and we know what works and what doesn't. So yeah, it's not completely their fault because not everything is standardized yet. There's not, nothing is standardized. So it's still kind of the Wild West a little bit. There's just, there's a sheriff and some deputies now.
Well, so hold on. Let's put a pin in that. Things are kind of getting standardized. We've all kind of played Skyrim and said this is how things should operate for the most part. You take that and you implement some minor tweaks to make it work with your game. But we're all I think at this point we're all very much in line saying we don't have analog sticks on our Move controllers. This is the best solution we've got. And anyone who's tried some other solution, it hasn't been nearly as successful. And so I do think it's been standardized. It's just people aren't paying attention.
True. That's definitely part of it. And just keep in mind when it came out, turning and blinders that were forced. And, everybody had to complain about that. And then they got, and then they finally added that and it was great. Even though it took some people getting adjusted to it, but.
And there were games before Skyrim that used almost the exact same locomotion system. It's just Skyrim's the biggest one. And, and that's the reason we all kind of point to Skyrim because that's the one everybody's familiar with.
It's definitely, it should be the standard. The games like even fans like Sirento. So to answer his question though, he does say, what are your best and worst examples of locomotion in PSVR games? Number one for me, absolutely is Sirento. There was a little bit of a learning curve to it. It did take a little bit of options to select, but this game lets you, once you get used to it, jump around, do backflips, run, sprint, walk at a slow speed, sword fight with two hands, shoot guns in both directions, do all sorts of things. And it's just one of the most innovative control schemes. And like you said, in addition to this game, I would also say like Killing Floor and Skyrim, where they use like basically the left hand to point or whatever non-dominant hand to point in the direction and move.
The sirens are on my end. There's always sirens on my end.
You stole my answer. Brian, you stole my answer too. I was going to say Skyrim and Sirento. Yep. But since I can't, I'm going to come out of left field and say I think Resident Evil 7 has a great locomotion scheme using the DualShock 4 because it's one of those ones where maybe it would be better with the Move controllers, but some games don't really need that sort of interaction. And just for locomotion itself, that game uses the DualShock 4 better than most other games. A lot of games impose slow turning speeds or even have click turning, despite the fact that you've got an analog stick to turn with the DualShock implementation. And so it's just like, if there is a game that isn't going to use the moves, this is the shining example of giving people options, and making it work.
And using head tracking in conjunction, AJ, with the DualShock 4.
I love head tracking.
I was going to say, Dave was actually the one that originally brought up how much head tracking works with the DualShock 4 when you're using that to move.
I think it's the most precise way to track besides a mouse and a keyboard. I think it's your brain just knows where to point your face, and then you're right there and you shoot
Well,
the
you just
guy.
look at
Perfect.
it. You just gotta
Yeah,
look
exactly.
at it. That's it.
Well, I mean, but for headshots and stuff too, there's sort of this natural, like, okay, I'll just inch up a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many different locomotion systems, and obviously there's still different ways to move around in games other than direct movement or full locomotion. We've seen tons of examples of even teleportation gone wrong. So it's time for everyone there needs to be like this VR conference where all developers sit down and go, can we standardize this now? Are we all, are we at this point? And maybe it's too soon for something like that. Maybe we need to standardize controllers first across all platforms. And then we go, okay, now that everyone has analog sticks, now that everyone, uses this tracking method we do need to come up with a standard at some point, just so when you sit down, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you make a game. And then every time you play a game, the last thing you should be doing is, games have been around for so long. There's no reason to have to wonder how to play a game anymore.
Yeah.
We're 3 years in.
It'll get there. But yeah, clearly everyone is sticking to the, like I said, luckily we have this wonderful community, everybody watching right now because of you guys. And, we are trying to do our best part as well to be very vocal about these things and help them out. Not everyone's going to notice us all the time. So it's okay. But, they'll start to learn that we need optional blinders, optional smooth turning, or click turning, and definitely like full locomotion as much as possible. No teleport only wands. But yeah.
All right, you guys,
I can understand that.
I think that pretty much does it for another episode of Viewer Takeover. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions over on the Discord and on our comment section below. Make sure you ask your questions on our Discord. Join our Discord. Also, leave your questions in the comments below. Hashtag Viewer Takeover. All one word. Also, change your name to GameCat. Hashtag GameCat so we can give you a shout out on next week's show. Don't make us find you because, man, I will not. There's too many of you. I love you all a lot, but hard to wrangle you up. It's very difficult.
Cat Wrangler.
But most importantly, make sure you hit us up on patreon.com/withoutparole and give us $1 or more every month because you love us almost as much as we love you. And I promise you, this is the only thing keeping the channel running at this point. Really, really appreciate all your support. All right, you guys, thank you very much for hanging out with me. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Cats, for hanging out and watching. We'll see you guys on our next episode of whatever it is that we do. Probably Gamescast Live on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, where we give away 3 contagion codes. And I think, Dave, you're going to give a spontaneous Golem key out.
I got a Golem code.
Because I forgot to include it, even though I texted
Keep an eye on it. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in just a couple days. Meow.
I feel like you gave people so many instructions there at the end. It was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
You're like, you need to change your name. You need to go to the Discord. You need to sign up for the Patreon. And it's like, oh, okay. I got my list here. I'll get to it.
I was pretty sure when you said games that I could fucking feel your goddamn breath down my neck. I was like, ugh. I was like, oh man,
unexpected ASMR.
Unexpected ASMR is the best kind of ASMR.
Yeah.